All rise.
Elwin Ahu was proud to wear the robe of a circuit court judge. After all, he deserved it. He worked hard, played by the rules, and won. As an athlete, he always had a fierce desire to win. And he was smart enough to cruise through college with little effort. He even got into law school, but that's where things changed.
I'd cut out of class, the same that I did in undergrad, thinking that I could carry on in law school.
But he couldn't. He flunked a class and the school threatened to dismiss him. Elwin refused to accept failure and came up with a plan.
I figured out a way on how I could get through these classes, and I found out several rules and principles that I needed to apply, and it became a game to me. If I know the game, if I know the rules, I can pass. And I did.
Elwin believed he could apply that same strategy to any area of life and succeed. He even married while in law school, just to prove it.
Everyone said we were too young. And the more people told me that I couldn't do it, that it wouldn't be successful, the competitive edge kicked in, and I was out to prove them wrong.
The couple divorced after 7 years and shared custody of their 6-year-old son, Brandon. Elwin refused to accept any blame for the broken marriage.
It's failure, but it wasn't my fault. I played by my set of rules, and it was my perception at the time. It was because of what she failed to do that created this breakup.
Elwin's professional life as a litigator was soaring. His drive to win made him a powerhouse in the courtroom.
I love trial work. To see the jury come to a decision that you had been advocating, even though you didn't stand a chance walking through that courtroom.
Is the answer.
His success as a lawyer eventually landed him an appointment as a circuit court judge. His personal life, on the other hand, was a mess. He had remarried into a blended family and was determined to make it work his way.
I step in, knight in shining armor, save the day for everyone, play by my rules.
But that only created tension. To make things worse, he damaged his relationship with his son, Brandon.
Here I am, a person who tried to create the rules and play by the rules, and even though that I did, it was falling apart. It wasn't like when I got the F in law school, I could come back stronger. Listen, I'm getting another F. And what do?
Elwin divorced again and moved in with his parents.
I remember my dad saying to me one day, "What's wrong with you, man? 41, and yet you're living at home again." And I just began wondering. See, what's wrong with the world? And I couldn't put my finger on it.
One afternoon, while stuck in a Honolulu traffic jam, Elwin was listening to a recorded sermon a friend had given him. He liked the message so much, he decided to visit the church.
When the worship was done, as the pastor started to speak, it was as if the room just emptied. There was nobody there. He was talking just to me. And I thought, this is insane.
The experience stayed with him, so he went back. He still remembers what the pastor said.
He said, God may have orchestrated every moment in your life for you to be here to receive the forgiveness of Jesus Christ. Whew. That exploded. Because for the very first time, I came to realize that it wasn't anyone else who was wrong. It was me. That I needed forgiveness.
Elwin realized that forgiveness comes through Jesus Christ. He also felt he needed to set some things right.
I needed to not only receive forgiveness from the Lord, but to go and ask for forgiveness from now my 2 ex-wives. And And that was an interesting journey.
He also asked his son Brandon to forgive him because he felt like he had failed him as a father. But Elwin says God had already been at work in Brandon's heart.
And I can still hear his voice. He said, I love you. All is forgiven. Let's start over. And to me, if God can do that, then God can do anything.
For 2.5 years, Elwin continued serving in the circuit court. He remarried, and he and his wife Joy felt it was time for him to leave the bench. Today, he pastors a young, growing church with his son Brandon.
I think one of the biggest things that God has shown me throughout this entire journey is that life is not about me. It's about the paradox of dying to self before you can live. That led me to realize that, success is not necessarily about where you are and the position you hold and the money you make. Life is more about significance and how you can contribute now to someone else's life.